sometimes my big fat ear presses the off button, so I have to be careful. If I go off, you'll just have to call me back. It's not because I don't want to talk to you. It's I have a fat ear. I'm going to tell you my story, and then we'll go to specific questions. I joined the Navy when I got out of college in 1960, and I went down to Norfolk, Virginia, a big naval base, and I was assigned duty on a little destroyer, the USS Storms. There was about 280 men on it in various roles on the ship, and I was in what was called the Cold War and the Cuban Missile Crisis. The Russians dropped the island of Cuba and filled it with missiles, and they aimed them at the United States, and John F. Kennedy, who was president, came back and said, if you continue to do that, we will go to war with you. They got so far as the president spoke to all the American people, and he said, we may go to war, but we don't want to go to war. And they faced the Russians down, and I was part of that. I decided to join the Navy when I was in high school. I had to go to college, and my parents didn't have the money to send me to college, and so I got a Navy scholarship, and I knew about the Navy because I grew up with my father being in the Marine Corps and my grandfather being in the Navy. It is difficult to forecast who those people might be. You know, they can be kings or they can be people that precipitate other things, but generally history is made up of everybody involved in a million different ways, and it's not one single thing. That's my opinion. Have you ever been scared so much that your knees knock? I couldn't control them. And here I was the officer in charge of these men, and they were 5 years younger than me, and my knees were knocking, and they were looking to me to tell them what to do. And I could tell you more about attitudes of the people. Some of them were ready to go to war and kill people. Other people, they liked the Russians. They didn't know why we had to go to war. I was personally going to do what I was supposed to do. I had no feelings about war one way or the other. I knew that we had an enemy, which was Russia at that time, and I knew we had a task to do to stay free. So that's what I did. I never really thought of it in terms of war. All I thought of it was, I guess, left over from my days in basketball and football, winning and losing, and I wanted to be on the winning team. So I wasn't thinking globally then. I mean, I think more now about the global issues, but there's a large number of people in the world that just want peace. I mean, I'm more aware of that now than I was then. Getting up and getting underway out of San Juan, Puerto Rico at 5 in the morning and going out to sea, and there on the horizon about 10 o'clock in the morning we saw this big Russian freighter, and we called a helicopter in who dropped a Geiger counter over it, and it was reading the radiation from the nuclear warheads on the deck, and we transmitted that information, and he said, prepare to board the ship. This could be the start of the war. My mother, Marion Marshall, grew up in the Navy. Her father was responsible for the Navy over the entire Pacific. So I remember my mother talking about what her life was like with her mother and father being part of the society in San Francisco, and she was sent to a Catholic school in San Francisco, but she wasn't Catholic, but she had to go. that's not a war story, but that's a memory that I have. Big Bobby, we called him Big Bobby, and I remember hearing when he was 18, he learned to climb the mast of a sailing ship when they raised the sails, and some of the midshipmen didn't do so well, and they fell off and died. Friendships are very important. I still have close friendships with the people that were on the ship, and I know that I could count on them, and they know they could count on me. And it was all about people and relationships. It changed my mindset that everything was very important, and you had to communicate. Many people died, and what was going through my mind was, I cannot believe this, and I've got a task to perform, and I had better perform it. And everything happened all at once. One word?
Yeah.
Responsibility. I was just a happy kid in high school playing basketball and football, and then I went off with the scholarship, and I had the responsibility to keep that. Well, the one memory from my life forever is I met my wife. I was right out of the University of Virginia Business School, and I was out of the Navy at that point, and I walked into a Christmas party, and Aunt Kate introduced me to my wife, Jenny, and that's my strongest memory. I know that being in the military was you were all in. Either you would live or you would die. But I knew that the Navy was a wonderful organization of people, and you would get to know everybody. And so I was comfortable in applying to the Navy. We were all scared, and nobody wanted to fail, but nobody knew what it took to be successful. But I can tell you this, I was always very scared. I didn't want to die. I wanted to live.